Okay, so in this video I'm just going to do some basic instructions on how to set up Geogebra online calculator or the Desmos online calculator for problems like this one over here, where you're asked to adjust the settings of the programs to these specifications. Okay, so if you are using Geogebra, you're going to go to this gear icon here in the corner that says settings, and then go down to the settings tab. Okay, then we're going to click on x-axis across the top here, put a check mark next to positive, or I'm sorry, not positive, put a check mark next to distance, and in that box you're going to type a 1. Okay, and that's going to make, if you can see real small behind here, let's see if I can slide that over, you can see now the x-axis is going by 1s. Okay, then we're going to do the same thing on the y-axis tab. Put a check mark next to distance, and in that box beside it, type a 1. Okay, then when you click on grid, the last tab, under grid type, we're going to change major and minor grid lines to major grid lines only, and you'll see all those little in-between lines disappeared now on the coordinate plane. And then under distance, okay, where it says x, we're going to put a 1. And under y, we're going to put a 1, and then we can close those settings. So now you can see in the coordinate plane, right, we have major grid lines are visible, minor grid lines are hidden. Grid lines intersect to form square 1 by 1 boxes, right, not rectangles, which is what we have here. And then it wants the x and y axis to be labeled in increments of 1, right, which is what's happening. Okay, then x-axis not showing less than -8 to 8, not more than -12 to 12. So right now, see how we're going, 8 to 8. We can adjust the sides here if we wanted to show the 8 to 8. If you want to use the little zoom buttons down here, we can hit the minus zoom sign, and that's going to make this area a little tighter in, so now we're going 13 to 13 in both directions. If you want to have it not more than 12 to 12, right, you can just grab the corners of your window here, right, and slide it in. So now we're going from -10 to 10. And see if I can grab the bottom here. Need to make this a little bigger. There we go. Okay, so get my cursor there. There we go. So now I'm at -10 to 10 in all of the corners, right? That would be a way to set up your coordinate plane to meet these criteria. Okay, then in the input box for Geogebra, you can type in the function. So f of x equals x squared. Oops, that's an s. X squared, and then press enter, and g of x, x is equal to -1/2, and then f of x minus 3, and that's +2. And we'll press enter. And in Geogebra, it's a kind of a nice feature that when you do function transformation, so we're basing g of x on what we entered for f of x, it'll actually show you automatically in the second line here that composition of functions. So it's taking x squared and it's replacing it in this function for the function f. And showing you what that simplifies to, which is kind of a neat thing. So if you notice in the instructions, it wants f of x to be red, and right now it's green. So if I click these 3 dots here next to it and click settings, now I can go over here to color, and I can change it to red, right? You can also, under style, you can change the thickness of the line, its opacity, or how transparent it is. You could change the line style, right, to dash, dotted, or solid. Under basic, you can choose to have the object show, the label show, so I can change this to name and value. And now when I look at the coordinate plane, right, the equation for that line appears now where the g of x line is. Oh, whoops, but I wanted that to be blue, not red. So I'm going to change that settings over to blue. There we go. Now that's blue. Okay, this one was the one I wanted to be red. So I'm going to go to settings, color, change that to red, and I'll go ahead and change that label to name and value. Okay, and now I can see both the equation and the line for each. Okay, when you're ready to upload that image, you're gonna you can either save it or you can bring up your snipping tool and click on new, and then I'm going to make sure that I include both the equations and my coordinate plane, and then just double check that all these criteria are met before I upload that image. So -8 to 8, -12 to 12, right? 9 to 9, I'm within those criteria, right? My my graph and my equations are both visible, so then I can go up here to save, and then I can save this. I guess I'll save it to my desktop, so I'll call this question 21, and I'll click on save. Okay, and then when you're ready to upload that file into your question, right, I'm in the preview mode, so I don't see the toolbar up here, but up above this question there will be a toolbar that has a picture icon that you can click to insert your picture. Insert your picture under image media, and then you'll attach that file. Okay, the second option that you had for graphing is Desmos, and if you're using Desmos instead, then the settings are going to be configured in a slightly different manner. So up in the corner here where you see this gear, or not gear, sorry, this little wrench icon, that opens up your settings, and then in this area here that says grid, you're going to uncheck the box for major grid lines, or sorry, minor grid lines, so that only the major grid lines show. Okay, then under x-axis, we're going to make the step in there a 1. Same thing for y-axis. We're going to make the step in the x and the y-axis both 1s. And then we'll go ahead and close that settings menu. And you can reposition this origin by dragging around the screen. And you can also change the size of the area that's showing using that, that corner. Here, we're going to drag that in. Maybe if I can get a hold of it. There we go. Okay, so let's shrink that down a little bit. And now I've got -10 to 10, right, in all directions, which is between 8 to 8 and, or -8 to 8 and -12 to 12. So this would be a fine configuration to meet these criteria. Okay, then in my equation here, I'm going to type in f of x equals x squared. Press enter, and then g of x equals, and that's a -1/2 f of the quantity x minus 3 and plus 2. Okay, and you'll notice that in Desmos it does not write that that other form underneath of it the way that it did in Geogebra right here, right? It just shows you the g of x, the transformation notation. Okay, now these have shown up already in red and blue, but if I wanted to change the color, I would click in the equation that I'm interested in and hit the settings button. And then when you're in this view, you can click on that color circle and change it to whatever color that you want it to be. And you can also change it from dashed, dotted, and solid. Desmos does not give you an option to change the line thickness, so they kind of default to these sizes that you see here. Okay, and then when you're ready, you hit done, and that's it. Okay, Desmos also doesn't let you show the equation on the graph, which is another reason why it's really important to have those functions listed here on the side when you do your snipping tool. So if you grab your snipping tool and click on New, then you'll be able to drag a box around everything, and then again just double check before you save and upload that file that you meet all of these specifications that are listed there. Okay, so hope that helps with the setup for the graphs. Feel free to email me if you have any additional questions. Thanks.